So I have a rhetorical question for you. And I want you to think it up here and let it roll down to your heart and dwell in it throughout the sermon. Have you experienced something unexpected? Either it is news or events that boggled your mind, made you wonder immensely, sleeplessly so. If you understood the word unexpected or unanticipated, nod your head. Yeah, so you've been there. You've been there. And through our life experiences, those unexpected, unanticipated, could be joy-filled, or it could be heart-wrenching, right? Overwhelmingly painful news. But today, I want to focus on the good part. The good part. The good unexpected. Does it make sense? Is there anything like that? The good unexpected? You know. There could be bad unexpected. But I think the gospel story today is trying to tell us opposite can happen too. Good unexpected. Right? There's a possibility there. So we have this wonderful book known to us as Holy Bible. This book has stories after stories of our ancestors of faith who have journeyed our journey, who have encountered numerous obstacles on their journey. Good, bad, Clint Eastwood will say good, bad, and ugly, or good, bad, and otherwise, right? But people of faith have come through. They've come through. For example, this was written by Dr. David Luce. He says, Saul was not supposed to be anointed as a king in the Old Testament. But Samuel anoints him as a king of Israel, right? Unexpected, right? Unexpected. Now, what should I say? Sarah. Well, a lot of those women in the Old Testament were barren and they had no children. But Sarah ended up becoming a mother and welcomed a dynasty. Unexpected, isn't it? Let me just throw some. Rest you might know well. Then we have the story about Moses. That fellow was very unexpected, isn't it? Think about what his mother went through. And then life he lived. And eventually God calls him to do something that was utterly displeasing to him. And he tried his very best to somehow, get him out of the responsibility. Unexpected, isn't it? He was fearful. And yet he had to go and face the Pharaoh and say, let my people go. Think about that. A timid young man had to face Pharaoh and say, "Let my people go." Unexpected, isn't it? Very, very, very unexpected. Miriam wasn't expected to be the prophetess of Israel, teaching her people to sing God's victory over Israel, over Egyptians. Right? Think about that. Oh, you will like this one. The ruddy-faced shepherd boy, David, wasn't supposed to be the king. Right? But he ended up becoming a king. Unexpected. Who would have thought that little shepherd boy would one day become a king? Not just a little king, but a big king. You know. So many things like that unexpected. God took ordinary people to make something different and new. Sometimes I do wonder, though, if God is doing some of these things at our own expense. Why do we have to go through some pain and suffering to realize God's love for us? Does it make sense? It's almost like God is having a good time at our expense. But that's just my way of thinking, right? We wonder, why God? Why are you doing this to me? You know? There are things like that happening. I was even wondering about this 12 fishermen. They all came at different time to do their work. They all came to Galilee to fish. They thought it was just another ordinary day. And then this fellow comes around and he says, "Philip, follow me." And all these 12 people, just ordinary, minding their own business. And Jesus had come, and they all follow. And Jesus told him, "I want to make you fishers of men." Did they even understand what that is? Did they have any clue what that is? I am going to make fishers of men. Fishers of men? Just think about it. Try to walk on their shoes a little bit. You know? Unexpected, isn't it? It happened in the New Testament too, right? God still working. God didn't take a vacation between New Testament and Old Testament and forgot the needs of the humanity. I am assuring you that, God was and is active even today, trying to nudge us to understand his plans that we have no clue what it is. Right? Does it make sense? So Jesus is an invited guest at Martha, Mary, and Lazarus. But in order to understand this, we need to go back to chapter 11 to figure out what happened. In chapter 11, this Martha, Mary, and Lazarus, they were good friends of Jesus. Right? They were good friends of Jesus. Now, Lazarus got sick. And Martha and Mary sent 911 call to Jesus. "We need you here right now." But somehow, there was some miscommunication. The satellite didn't work. Or maybe Jesus just said, that's okay. Right? Maybe, in some ways, Jesus said, it's okay. So in the meantime, he's dead. Right? You know the story, right? And then he's buried. And Jesus shows up. And one of the sisters said, "I wish you were here early." Right? We would all say that, right? I wish you would have come at least a day early. If you were here, he wouldn't be down there. But Jesus spoke to Lazarus, and Jesus said, "Come out!" right? And then Lazarus came back to life. And that somehow caused uproar and turmoil among the established leaders of the religious institutions. That is not supposed to happen that way. Right? And so this passage we read leads us further, and now, I guess, Martha, Mary, and Lazarus and all the others were happy, and he became a dinner guest, with Martha, Mary, and Lazarus and others. And then somewhere during the mealtime, Mary stood up from where she was sitting and then disappears for a while. That's my addition. He disappears for a while, and then she comes back with some kind of a alabaster little box, spikenard, right? Expensive oil. And she breaks it and pours it on the feet of Jesus. Imagine, you ladies. I don't know whether it is comparative like Chanel 5, or maybe there's more expensive than Chanel 5, right? And then you're cracking it. Your dinner guests don't have to be surprised. Your husband will be surprised. You crack that open, that is expensive, And that's what Judas said. That's a whole year of earnings. You just cracked it, broke it, and poured on him. And instead of a towel, she used her own hair. Think about that. It's not something that you see or read in the New Testament over and over again. It is not something that was done in openly. That interaction, exchange, did not happen, does not happen, will not happen, right? Culturally speaking. Because oftentimes when we hear about somebody washing your feet, beside Monday, Thursday service, it is always, there is a hierarchy thing, right? Servants, slaves, washing their master's feet. And such practices has been perpetuated over time, generation to generations. Such practices was almost like granted, allowed, make it to exist, even when the Britishers were in India. And therefore not just poor people, but the caste system that continued to perpetuate for these people to do the odd menial jobs, that they will never be somebody. My dad was initially a British Army officer, Indian Army officer, and Nagaland police officer. There's a system in the military system where the young recruits are taught to learn from their superiors. And Dad had some young recruits always assigned to help Daddy. And one of them would wash his feet. and massage him. Now as I reflect, I was too young to say anything. Now I go, wow, even my own family perpetuated that. Allow such thing to exist and normalized it. So when I was reading this text, all these nuances was popping up. I go, wow, yeah, this happened. All through my life at home, I saw young men washing my father's feet. But that was hierarchical, right? Somebody lower serving the person on the top. What Mary was doing was different. Mary, out of her love for Jesus, demonstrated love that was beyond one can truly explain. Right? Why would somebody truly do such a thing? The important thing to know is Jesus did not deny her. Even though Judas was complaining, Jesus welcomed, did not reject, her gesture, willing to show love. I don't know whether Mary really knew what she was really doing. That in itself is also unexpected. A very unexpected move. At the end, in verse 7, 8, we hear that Jesus saying something different than what Mary had anticipated. He said, "She is preparing me for my burial." Something unexpected is going to happen upon this particular event. But, that is not going to be the end. Romans thought their work was done. Disciples probably thought their work is done. But what took place was just the beginning, right? It was just the beginning of new era, new chapter. And so here we are at Sun City, still trying to be the followers of Jesus. God is trying to give hope to the hopeless. People who are inundated with bad news, bad happenings. God is saying, even in the midst of this, I have something good for you to live and be hopeful, hope-filled. It's tough to be down there in a dump and to hear this, there can be hope. That's tough. We all know, somebody who is going through some difficult time. And to grasp this sense of hope in reality is tough. But even in that unexpected moment and time and situation, there is hope. Where will humanity be without that sense of hope, where you can hang on to, this is all you got. If I let go, I'm done, right? And therefore you hang on. This is what the season is about, hanging on. Unexpected, unanticipated, yes. But it is what it is, and I am hanging on. I am holding on. That's what my journey is. I know that's your journey. That's our journey. Take that with you. Wrestle with it. There is no easy answer to it. You and God have to have a God moment. Come to Jesus moment, and you'll figure out what to do with it and how to do it, right? How to do it. That's what it is. Somebody told me this morning, I got up this morning, I'm standing, I know my name, and I'm here. That's what it is. That is hope. You live today. And wait for God to direct you for tomorrow. Amen? Amen.